Okay, so hopefully you can see me and see my screen. Today I'm going to be presenting my view assignment. So I had the pleasure of going to Laurel Hill Elementary. The teacher I interviewed was Miss McCoy. She teaches kindergarten, and the interview took place April 13th. So one of the first questions I asked her was, how do you feel emotionally? And she said that with time it's gotten easier. She said at first it was hard considering they're 5. And technology is not for a 5-year-old. And she said emotionally she's good now, but that she could see that, they're not where they should be because they weren't getting that hands-on experience, and that really, that hurt her knowing that. And she said that she's just glad that they're back in the classroom and able to get that hands-on exposure. Next, I asked, what platform are you using to teach effectively online, advantages and disadvantages? She said that they're using Google Classroom. She said once they got the hang of it, they pretty much knew where their camera was, how to get online, where the classwork was, and all that kind of stuff. She said that at the end of the year, they weren't really prepared to use Google Classroom, so they were doing Zoom. And she said that she liked Google Classroom way more than Zoom, and she said that in order to return classwork on Google Classroom, you do have to grade it if you want to return a comment. And she said that's one thing she didn't like, because in kindergarten they don't receive grades. They get like stickers for participation and stuff like that. So she said that was one of the disadvantages to Google Classroom. Another question I asked is, what experiences related to the use of technology can you share with me? Tips and things to avoid, for example. She said be patient, because there's going to be some days that technology just does not work. She said that she's had to teach from home, and the teacher assisted me in the classroom, and they struggled to use the iPad, and she said you could barely hear her, the camera did not look good, and she said if multiple people are in there, then you can hear echo. So she said that, just be patient. Technology won't always work. Another question I asked is, what are some differentiated practices that you have had to incorporate, and what kinds of challenges does teaching/learning remotely add to this task? She said that her students are on different levels, so with him being on different levels, she's having to teach them in groups based on where they are. And she said that her high kids are already learning how to blend sounds, and her low kids are still learning letters and sounds. So she said that having to group them at different times online based off of where they were was a little bit tricky. She said that she'd have one class at 1, one at 10, one at 1:20, and it'd be a ball of confusion. The next question I asked was, let's see if I can go back. The next question I asked are, what are some of the daily pressures that an average person knows nothing about, but you would want a beginning teacher to know? She said in the COVID world, there are extra responsibilities like having to social distance. They really don't understand the 3 feet, and she said having to remind them constantly, and they don't understand why. She said, and having to clean also is just something added. She said that, cleaning after what they use, their toys, their pencils, and stuff like that. She said in the normal world, pressures really are not that bad. She said just teaching them procedures. She said you just have to be patient with kindergartners, really. And the thing is being patient in the beginning, because they are 4 and 5 and they're not really, they've never been in a classroom and they're learning procedures and new routines. She said, but once you get through the first couple of weeks, they're good. She said another pressure is being prepared for both worlds, virtual and normal, or COVID and normal world. She said that the pressures do come and go, because one day you can walk in a classroom and one student's having a tantrum, one's throwing up, one wants to go home. She said, the pressures come and go. It just depends on what happens through the day and how prepared you are. And the last question I asked is, what keeps you motivated and inspired to keep doing this challenging work? She said her love for it. She said the growth that you see from the beginning to the end of the year, or the growth through the year. She said the love at this age. She said them loving to come to school, and that they just love school and they love you. She said that they really see you as perfect. They see you as this amazing thing, and she said that that's just what she loves about kindergartners or younger kids. And my reflection would be, after doing this interview, I really learned about the pressures and differences in students who are in the COVID world versus the normal world. It was hard to see that they struggled with simple tasks because COVID pushed them back. It's important to remember that teachers' lives change, but also students. And me being a student, I personally understand how they feel. And if I've learned anything from the interview, it is to be patient. Patience is what these students need. And even before COVID, patience is what students need. And after, um, they've been through so many changes within this year, and not only is it hard, but continuing to learn through it is even harder. And I hope that one day I can be an amazing teacher like the one I interviewed, because she really opened my eyes to what it's like to be a teacher, and especially a teacher during COVID. Um, so I'm gonna tell you a little bit about her. She's been teaching for about 20 years. She was my sister's pre-K teacher. She did get a business degree and did ladder entry and went back for her master's. Her and her husband work in the same school. They have 2 kids. And overall, the interview and finding a participant was fairly easy. The school made sure I was comfortable, and Miss McCoy made sure I was able to complete all my assignments. She really shared what it is like to be a teacher, and I can't wait to be a teacher. And here is a picture of me and Miss McCoy. And major takeaways is language is important when completing the context for learning. Make sure you are using appropriate language. Be observant. When student teaching, make sure you pay attention to the details, because details do matter. Proofread, proofread, proofread. I feel like this one is the most important. Make sure you proofread before submitting, because the quality of writing influences your score. So make sure to proofread and make any changes before submitting. And that is all I have, and thank you.